Jonas sat on the edge of his narrow balcony, staring at the pale streetlights below. He felt the cool night breeze brush his cheeks, but it did nothing to soothe the ache in his chest. 3 months ago, his best friend Layla had packed her life into a battered suitcase and moved to another city. Since then, the silence between them had grown louder than any words. Every morning, Jonas woke to an empty house. He poured his coffee and scrolled through old messages on his phone, reading the jokes and secrets they once shared. He traced his finger over her last text. "I miss you already. Keep in touch." He sighed, feeling guilty that he had not called her in weeks. At work, Jonas found himself distracted. He stared out of the office window, imagining Layla's bright smile as she unboxed her books in a new apartment. He pictured her turning up the music and dancing in her living room. Thought made him smile and ache at the same time. That evening, Jonas sat at his desk with a blank notepad before him. He wanted to write her a letter, but the words felt too heavy. How could he tell her that life felt dull without her laughter? How could he admit that he missed her voice more than anything? He rested his head in his hands and closed his eyes. In his mind, he saw memories of them together. He remembered the time they stayed up all night building a makeshift rocket out of old cans and string, dreaming of reaching the stars. He recalled the day they rescued a wounded sparrow and nursed it back to health, sharing hope in a small wooden cage until it flew away. Their friendship had always been full of wonder, kindness, and the belief that together they could do anything. Jonas opened his eyes. He realized that he had to reach out, even if he did not know the perfect words. He took a deep breath and picked up a pen. On the notepad, he wrote, "Dear Layla, I hope you are happy in your new home. I miss you more than I can say. Remember how we used to dream together, and I still believe in those dreams. I'm writing because I want to feel close again, and I need your help to do that." He paused, then added, "Maybe you could tell me how your first week went. Did you find new friends? Did you explore the streets? I would love to hear about everything. No matter how small it seems, it matters to me." Jonas folded the letter carefully and placed it in an envelope. He stood up and walked to the mailbox outside his apartment building. His heart pounded with each step, but he felt a spark of hope. He slipped the letter into the slot and heard it drop with a soft thud. That night, Jonas sat in the dark living room and stared at the moon through the window. He felt lighter, as if the letter had lifted some burden from his shoulders. He remembered the spirit of hope that Layla had taught him. Humanity's greatest power was the courage to reach out, to connect, and to care. The next day, Jonas returned to the mailbox. Before work, he held his breath as he tugged on the metal door. Inside lay a small stack of envelopes. Jonas's hands trembled as he searched through them. Then he found a slim white envelope addressed in Layla's neat handwriting. His chest tightened with joy. He ripped it open and read her words aloud. "Jonas, your letter was the best surprise I have had in a long time. My first weeks here have been strange but exciting. I found a tiny park where the wind chimes sang in the trees, and I made a friend named Amir who loves astronomy as much as we do. I miss our rocket project and our late-night talks. Thank you for writing. Plan a video call this weekend? Same time we used to meet on the rooftop? Love, Layla." Jonas closed his eyes and let out a long breath. A smile spread across his face. Suddenly, he felt less alone. The distance between them was still real, but now it felt smaller. Their friendship had survived the move because they both still believed in each other. That evening, Jonas set up his laptop on the kitchen table. As the clock struck 7, a familiar face appeared on the screen. Layla waved, her eyes bright with excitement. Jonas waved back, his own eyes shining. They spent hours talking about their days, sharing jokes, and planning new dreams. Jonas felt the same thrill he used to feel when they launched their paper. Rockets into the sky. Now their connection was stronger, built on honesty and hope. When they finally said goodnight, Jonas leaned back in his chair and looked at the empty balcony. He no longer saw a lonely street below. He saw possibility. He knew that no matter how far apart they were, the bond they shared could bridge any space. With a heart full of promise, Jonas whispered to the night, "We can do anything even if it means starting again." And in that moment, he believed it with all his soul. Jonas woke before sunrise, the pale light slipping through his curtains, like a promise. He lay still for a moment, thinking of Layla's bright face on the screen the night before. Their voices had floated across thousands of miles, bridging the space between two cities and four. The first time in weeks, Jonas felt alive with hope. He rose quietly so as not to wake his parents, stepped into the kitchen, and boiled water. For tea. While it warmed, he opened his laptop and reread Layla's letter. He imagined her standing beneath the wind chimes in that little park, listening to their tinkling song. He pictured Amir, her new friend, pointing out constellations in the night sky. Every detail made him smile and ache. After breakfast, Jonas sat at his desk with paper and pen. He wanted to give Layla something more than messages and calls. He remembered how they once collected smooth river stones and painted each one with words of courage. They had scattered those stones along a hiking trail near their hometown, hoping to leave small sparks of joy for whoever found them. It had been a simple act, but it had filled them with wonder. Jonas decided to recreate that kindness across the miles. He wrote a list: a painted stone, a pressed flower from the garden, a handwritten poem, and a small sketch of the rocket they built. He carefully packed each item into a box, cushioning them with tissue paper and hope. On top, he placed his letter explaining why he sent these gifts. He sealed the box and added a sticker that read, "Human spirit travels every distance." Later that afternoon, he walked to the post office, the box tucked under his arm. The street was quiet, and he felt oddly nervous. What if Layla thought the gifts childish? What if she no longer cared about their old dreams? He shook off the doubts. He reminded himself that hope was stronger than fear. Humanity's greatest quality was its willingness to reach out.
At the counter.
Jonas paid. For a special delivery, the clerk smiled and said, "You must really miss someone." Jonas nodded. "She's my best friend," he said. "She moved away, but I want her to know she's never far from my heart." The clerk's eyes softened. "I hope your gift brings you both closer." That evening, Jonas returned home and prepared dinner with his usual care. He chopped vegetables and grilled chicken, remembering how Layla always fussed when he burned anything. He set the table with 2 plates, even though no one would sit across from him. He lit a candle and sat down to eat, imagining her laughter echoing in the room. After dinner, he opened his laptop for their video call. When Layla's face appeared, Jonas held up his phone to show the tracking number and a photo of the package. Her eyes widened and she grinned so brightly the screen almost glowed. She promised to send photos of its arrival. Over the next days, Jonas filled his hours with work and small joys. He watered the flower bed on the balcony, planted new seeds, and watched them unfurl. He repaired his old telescope and polished its lenses, hoping to send Layla clear images of the stars she loved. Every action felt like a step toward reconnecting. On the 4th day, his phone buzzed with a message from Layla. "I got your package. Can I show you?" Jonas dropped everything and opened his laptop. Layla sat at a small table in her apartment, the painted stone in her palm. She held up the pressed flower next to her heart. Tears shone in her eyes as she read his poem aloud, her voice cracking with emotion. Jonas listened, his own eyes moist. He watched her run her fingers over the sketch of the rocket, tracing the lines he once drew. "This means so much," she said softly. "It feels like you're here with me." They talked late into the night, sharing memories and dreams. Jonas described the first green leaves of spring on his balcony. Layla spoke of the new park's winding paths. They laughed over old jokes and made plans for the future. When they finally said goodnight, Jonas felt the distance shrink again. The miles between them had not disappeared, but their hearts were closer. He realized that connection was not measured by miles, but by the effort to reach across them. Next morning, the sun rose over Jonas's quiet street as he stepped onto his balcony. He held his phone, waiting for Layla's message. When it arrived, an invitation to join her at the same park in months to come, his heart soared. Jonas smiled at the sky, breathing deeply. He felt humble pride in humanity's endless hope. Even when someone you love moves far away, the human spirit can build its own bridges. Every call, every letter, every small gift carried the same power. to remind a friend that distance cannot dim the light they share. Filled with renewed purpose, Jonas turned back inside and began writing a new letter this time, planning their reunion. He knew the road ahead would take time and patience, but he also knew that hope and action would carry them there. As he wrote, he felt certain. No matter where life took them, humanity's greatest strength would always bring their hearts together. Jonas opened his notebook and stared at the blank page. He had spent the morning writing a long letter to Layla, planning their reunion in the park they both loved, but as the words spread across the page, he felt an ache in his chest. A distance still loomed between them like a wide ocean, and he wondered if one letter, one video call, one small gift could ever really close the gap. He closed the notebook and leaned back in his chair. He had built rockets from tin cans with Layla. He had painted stones with her. He had shared jokes under the stars. But now she lived in a new city far away. Every memory felt precious and fragile. Jonas rose and walked to the window. He watched a delivery truck rumble down the street. He remembered the special package he'd sent: a painted stone, a pressed flower, a poem, a sketch of their rocket. Layla had written back with gratitude and joy. But after that bright burst of connection, the weeks had drifted by. Emails and calls came less often as work and life filled their days. Jonas felt the silence settling back in. He sighed and decided he could not wait for Layla to reach out again. He needed to find a new way to bridge the miles. His heart carried hope, but his mind danced with doubts. What if he tried something that felt too strange? What if she was too busy? He shook his head. Humanity's greatest gift was its courage to try. Jonas sat at his desk and pressed record on his phone. He spoke slowly into the microphone. "Hi, Layla. It's me, Jonas. I miss you. I'm still thinking of our dreams. I want to share something new with you." He paused. "I've been working on a little project." He closed the recording with a hopeful smile. In the next hour, he edited the clip into a short video, splicing in old photos of them laughing by the river, clips of his balcony flower bed, and a time-lapse of clouds moving across the night sky. At the end, he held a whiteboard that read, "Distance is a test of effort. I'm ready to pass." Then he uploaded the video and sent the link to Layla with a quick message. "Watch this when you have a moment. I hope it makes you smile." That afternoon, Jonas's heart raced every time his phone beeped, but no message arrived. He busied himself by clearing out old boxes from his closet. He found a stack of postcards he had collected from childhood. Travels. An idea bloomed. He would send Layla a postcard every week with a different scene from their hometown. Each card would carry a memory on the back and a brief note. "I thought of you here today." He set up a reminder in his calendar and sorted the postcard stack. Days passed. Jonas watered his balcony plants and trimmed dead leaves. He recorded himself reading one of his favorite poems about friendship and hope. He uploaded that too. Still no reply. A pang of sadness caught him in his chest. He closed his eyes and thought of Layla's laugh, clear as sunlight. He remembered her courage when they rescued the sparrow. Their friendship had always been an act of kindness. That memory gave him strength. On a Friday evening, Jonas walked to the community center where he volunteered. He arrived to find children painting birdhouses. He smiled. He joined them, picking up a small wooden house and painting it bright yellow. One of the kids asked, "Who is that for?" Jonas thought for a moment. "It's for a friend who lives far away," he said. "I'm painting hope into her home." The children grinned and asked if they could add little hearts and stars. Together, they decorated the birdhouses with messages of friendship. At the end, Jonas carried the painted house home and sent Layla a photo, a gift from his friends here, all painted with care. Saturday morning arrived with a gentle rain. Jonas made tea and sat by the window, listening to raindrops on the glass. His phone buzzed. He jumped at the sound, then saw a new email from Layla. His hands trembled as he opened it. "Jonas," she wrote, "your video moved me to tears. I watched it 3 times. Thank you for sharing those memories. I saved every postcard idea, and I can't wait to see the first one. The children's birdhouse is beautiful. I feel their kindness too. I've been busy settling into my job, but I promise I'm here. I miss you more every day. She included a short clip of her own, Layla standing under the wind chimes in the park, holding a postcard Jonas had sent earlier. She smiled and said, I miss you. I'm planting a small garden on my balcony too. Maybe one day we'll visit these places. Together, Connus closed his eyes and let out a long breath. The fog of doubt lifted, revealing bright sky. Hope was alive. Humanity's spirit had carried his message across the distance. That evening, Jonas sat on his balcony under the rain-streaked sky and replayed Layla's video on his laptop. He watched her smile, felt the soft echo of her voice. Then he opened his notebook and wrote, Dear Layla, your message gave me light on a cloudy day. I'm proud of our friendship and all we do to keep it bright. Thank you for making time to connect. I have more postcards ready, and I can't wait to send them. Till then, know that every raindrop reminds me of you and every star in the sky holds a wish for our reunion. He closed the notebook and looked up at the dark clouds. Between them, a single star gleamed. Jonas whispered, Humanity answers every call, no matter the distance. And in that moment, he believed that their hearts would always stay close. Carried by hope and the will to try again and again, Jonas woke to the sound of his alarm and sat up slowly. His heart felt both light and heavy. Light because yesterday, Layla had sent him photos of her new balcony garden. Heavy because he missed her still. He brewed tea and carried it to his desk, where postcards and sketches lay scattered. He wanted to find a new way to reach her, something that would make her smile and feel close. He stared at the postcards for a while. He had sent 3 so far, each with a memory from their hometown, the old library steps, the willow by the river, the rooftop where they watched meteors. Layla had written back that each card felt like a small homecoming, yet now their replies came less often. Work and new friends filled her days. Jonas wondered if he could do more than wait. He remembered how they once built a small sundial in the park out of stones and sticks. They had marked each hour with little pebbles and watched the shadow move with awe. That simple invention had reminded them of time's flow and life's beauty. Jonas thought, maybe he could bring that memory to life again this time, in a way they could share across cities. He opened his laptop and began planning a virtual sundial project. He sketched designs for a paper model that Layla could assemble at her end while he built his here. He wrote instructions in simple steps and searched online for free video software. His fingers moved quickly as he typed. Step 1. Find a flat surface. Step 2. Cut the paper along the solid lines. Step 3. Fold carefully. He paused, imagining Layla cutting the paper with a gentle smile. The thought gave him hope. Jonas spent the afternoon cutting and gluing cardstock, turning his sketch into a small sundial. He tested it on his balcony, watching the shadow tip change as the sun moved. It worked. He felt a surge of pride in their human ability to solve problems with simple tools. He recorded a video of the sundial in action, explaining each step clearly. At the end, he held up a sign. Let time bring us closer. That evening, he mailed the video link and a packet of cardstock to Layla. He wrote, I hope you enjoy making your own sundial. Let it mark our moments until we meet again. He hit send and felt a flutter of excitement. He imagined her hands, folding paper at her apartment window, sun tracing the shadow just as it did for him. The next morning, Jonas woke early and checked his phone. A message from Layla. Jonas, your sundial idea is wonderful. I'll try it today. Thank you for thinking of this. She attached a photo of her flat envelope of cardstock opened on her table. The picture, Layla's scissors, and a hot cup of tea sat beside the paper pieces. Her smile was bright even through a tiny digital image. Jonas's spirits lifted. Spent the day recording time-lapse footage of his sundial's shadow moving across the face. He added subtitles that read, Morning light, afternoon promise, evening hope. He sent the clip to Layla, telling her he could not wait to see hers. Then he went for a walk through the park where he and Layla once played. He felt her presence in every rustling leaf and heard her laughter and the song of a distant bird. That night, Jonas set an alarm for sunrise. As the first pale light touched his balcony, High video called Layla. She answered with the sun casting a golden glow on her face. Behind her, a half-assembled sundial waited. Jonas showed his shadow moving, and Layla followed his instructions. In real time, their laughter mixed with the birdsong from her open window. When she fitted the last paper flap, they watched together as the shadow aligned perfectly with the hour mark. They both cheered. Jonas held his phone so that both sundials appeared side by side on the screen, hers in a new city, his on the old balcony. In that moment, the miles between them disappeared. They spent the next hour talking about light and time, sharing hopes for their reunion. Layla said she planned to place her sundial on her windowsill so that she could think of Jonas every time the sun moved. Jonas promised to keep his sundial safe on his balcony, turning it into a symbol of their friendship's endurance. After the call, Jonas sat quietly and watched the sundial's shadow inch forward. He felt a warm glow in his chest. He realized that hope was not just a feeling, but an action, sending postcards, building sundials, calling it dawn. Humanity's strength lay in those small efforts that crossed oceans and connected hearts. Jonas woke to the low hum of city traffic below his window. He sat up, rubbing sleep from his eyes. The sundial project had brought him and Layla closer, but now a new week began, and he worried their bond might drift again. His electric kettle waited, watching steam rise like a small signal of hope. Over breakfast, Jonas opened his notebook where he had sketched ideas for staying connected. He flipped to a clean page and wrote, "Shared storybook." Remembered how he and Layla once wrote a short comic together, inventing heroes and worlds. He decided to build a simple online book they could fill together, page by page, no matter the miles between them. He spent the morning searching for free online tools, found a website that let two people edit a digital notebook in real time. Jonas set up an account called Our Shared Story and created the first page. He titled it Chapter 1. The Meeting of Two Friends. He added a simple drawing of two figures shaking hands beneath a star. Underneath he wrote, "Once upon a time, two children met by a river." After lunch, Jonas recorded a short video message for Layla. Spoke plainly into his phone. "Hi Layla, I started something new for us. It's a shared storybook. You can join me here anytime and add words, pictures, or memories. I think it will be fun to create something together." He sent the link with a note. "Let's write our next adventure." He felt a flutter of excitement and anxiety at once. Would Layla like the idea? Would she remember to write in the book? He reminded himself that hope often required simple actions, an invitation, a chance to create. Humanity's strength was in reaching out with new ideas. In the afternoon, Jonas walked through his neighborhood park to clear his mind. The same willow tree where he and Layla carved their initials 3 summers ago still stood by the pond. He paused beneath its branches and pressed his hand to the rough bark. He closed his eyes and pictured Layla under a similar tree in her new city. This thought filled him with gentle courage. Back home, Jonas sketched a second page for the shared book. Chapter 2. A Memory of the Rocket. He drew their tin can rocket strapped to a wooden plank, smoke curling from its base. He typed beneath, "They built a rocket from old cans." And string, "They dreamed of reaching the stars." He saved the page and sat back, imagining how Layla's additions might bring it to life. That evening, Jonas cooked a simple meal pasta with tomato sauce, just as Layla liked it when she visited. He set 2 bowls on the table, pouring extra sauce into one as if she might join him. He stirred each bowl slowly and thought about the new storybook. Every created page would be a step toward each other. After dinner, he opened his laptop for a video call. Layla's face appeared in a small window, her hair catching lamplight. She greeted him with a bright, "Hello, friend." He smiled and told her about the shared storybook. He showed her the 2 pages he had created. Layla's eyes lit up. "Jonas, this is wonderful," she said. "I will add something right now." She clicked on the link in a shared editor. Opened on his screen. Together, they watched as she added a colorful drawing of the sparrow they once rescued. Underneath, she wrote, "Remember when we saved the little bird and set it free? That was the day hope flew on tiny wings." Jonas read her words aloud, his voice soft with emotion. He added a line beneath, "And that day they learned that kindness could heal all wounds." Layla giggled when she saw his text appear on her screen in real time. They took turns adding memories. The willows carved initials. The wind chimes in the park, the laughter echoing under the night sky. With each word, the empty digital pages filled with their shared past and their shared present. The space between their cities seemed to shrink with every keystroke. When they finally said goodnight, the storybook stood at 4 pages, each a bridge spanning thousands of miles. Jonas closed his laptop with a contented sigh, felt less lonely than he had in months. He realized that hope was not a distant dream, but an everyday choice to create, to share, to reach out. The next morning, Jonas checked the storybook. Again, Layla had added a poem on page 3 and a sketch of a balcony garden on page 4. He smiled at her neat handwriting and felt the warmth of friendship across the network cables. He added a new page, Chapter 3, Plans for Tomorrow, and wrote, "They will one day meet again under a tree, by a river." He left room for Layla to write her thoughts, and he sent her a message. "Let's plan our reunion here, in this story." Jonas closed his notebook, his heart light. He knew the months ahead might be busy, but the shared storybook would keep their bond strong. More than letters or calls, it was a living record of their friendship and hope. Humanity's greatest power was to build bridges of imagination, and through those bridges, no friend was ever truly far away. Jonas woke to the gentle beeping of his phone. New message from Layla glowed on the screen. He opened it and saw a photo of her in a small pottery studio holding a clay cup she had shaped. Under the picture she wrote, "I made this for you. I'll send it soon." Jonas smiled, warmed by her thoughtfulness. He set the phone aside and stretched, feeling hopeful. Over breakfast, Jonas thought about Layla's gift. He remembered how they once made friendship bracelets from colorful threads, weaving patterns while talking under the willow tree. He wanted to send her something handmade in returns, something that showed his human spirit and hope could cross any distance. Then he had an idea, a memory jar. He fetched an empty glass jar from his kitchen shelf. He found small slips of paper and a pen. On each slip, he would write a favorite memory of him and Layla. He would fill the jar and send it to her, so she could draw one whenever she missed him. Jonas remembered their laughter in the library stacks, the way they jumped over puddles on rainy days, the feel of cool grass under their feet on summer mornings. Jonas wrote quickly, "Remember when we climbed the old oak tree and saw the whole town below? Remember when we sang our silly song into the wind by the river? Remember when we built snowmen that lasted until spring?" With each line, his sadness eased. The act of recalling memories made them feel alive again. When the jar brimmed with paper strips, Jonas tied a bright ribbon around its neck. He placed the jar in a box with packing peanuts and sealed it. On the outside he wrote, "Open when you need a smile," added a small note. "Each memory is a star in our sky." Then he dropped the package at the post office before work. During the day, Jonas found himself humming an old tune he and Layla had composed. His coworker asked why he seemed so content. Jonas shrugged and said, "I'm building bridges with memories." His coworker smiled and nodded, sensing the special bond he had with someone far away. That evening, Jonas cleared his desk and prepared for his video call with Layla. He lit a small candle and placed the empty memory jar next to his laptop. When Layla appeared on the screen, her face lit up. She held her handmade clay cup painted with tiny stars. "This is beautiful," Jonas said softly. "Thank you." Layla smiled shyly. "I hope you can use it for your tea when you think of me." Jonas raised his own mug in return. "I will," he promised. Then he told her about the memory jar on his desk. He showed her the sealed package with her name on it. "It's coming to you soon," he said. Layla's eyes widened. "A memory jar?" she asked. "That sounds wonderful." Jonas described how each slip of paper held a memory they shared. "I want you to have something you can open when you miss me," he explained. Layla nodded, touching her heart. "I can't wait to see it." After the call, Jonas sat quietly in the glow of the computer screen. He felt closer to Layla than he had in weeks. Their efforts, clay cups, shared storybooks, sundials, postcards, memory jars, had woven a strong thread between them. He realized that hope was not passive. It was an active choice to act on the bond they shared. The next morning, Jonas found a message from Layla. My jar arrived. I opened the first slip. Remember when we watched the sunset paint the clouds pink? It made me smile.
Thank you.
For the gift of memory, she sent a photo of the jar on her windowsill, surrounded by small pebbles to hold the notes in place. Jonas's heart lifted. He had bridged the gap again. Over the next days, he sent Layla a voice message reading one of his favorite poems about friendship. He mailed a small plant clipping so she could grow it alongside her balcony garden. Each gesture carried his hope across the miles. By part 6, Jonas and Layla had built a routine of sharing moments, creative projects, messages, and gifts. They both felt less alone. Jonas knew the road ahead still held challenges, busy days, new responsibilities, time zone differences, but he also knew that humanity's strength lay in persistence, imagination, and care. One afternoon, Jonas received an email from Layla's friend Amir. He wrote, Layla wanted me to tell you how much your gifts mean to her. She treasures the jar, the postcards, the storybook. She misses you and hopes to visit soon. Jonas read the message twice, his eyes shining. He replied with gratitude, telling Amir that Layla's happiness was his greatest reward. That evening, Jonas sat on his balcony and looked at the sky. The first stars were appearing. He thought of the memory jar as a jar of stars, each note a flicker of light they had shared. He whispered into the quiet air, no matter the distance, our friendship shines bright. He went inside and opened his notebook. On a fresh page he wrote, Part 7, Plans Take Shape. Under it he drew 2 figures beneath the willow tree. Jonas woke to the soft hum of his alarm and stretched his arms wide. Today felt important. He'd worked on small gifts and messages for weeks, but he wanted something bigger now. We decided to plan a shared music playlist for him and Layla. Music had always brought them closer, sparking memories and laughter. After breakfast, Jonas opened the music app on his laptop, created a new playlist called Our Journey. He added songs they once loved, the tune they danced to at the park, the song that played when they built the tin can rocket, and the melody that drifted through the library when they studied. Each song held a memory. He smiled as he listened, feeling old moments flood back. Next, he added new songs pieces he thought Layla would like in her new city. Gentle piano melodies for her morning tea, upbeat tracks for her walks, and hopeful ballads for quiet evenings. Jonas wrote short notes beside each song. This reminded me of your smile. I hope this brightens your day. Play this when you need courage. With each note, his hope grew. Once the playlist felt complete, Jonas sent Layla a message. I made something for us. Let's share music across the distance. He included a link and leaned back, heart pounding. He thought of Layla clicking the link and hearing a song that carried his care. That thought made him confident that music could bridge miles. In the afternoon, Jonas visited the local craft store. He'd bought plain postcards and colored pens. He turned each postcard into a mini music card, song title on one side, a drawing or memory on the other. He drew rockets, birds, sundials, and gardens. He numbered each card to match a song on the playlist. He packed them into an envelope with a note, play and smile. That evening, Jonas dropped the cards at the post office. The clerk smiled at his enthusiasm. Sending music memories? She asked. Jonas nodded. Music connects us. Hope. These cards do too. The clerk nodded, touched by his conviction. Back home, Jonas prepared dinner and set his laptop on the table. When Layla joined their video call, he held up the postcards and played a song from the playlist. Her eyes lit up with surprise. She reached for her phone and opened the link. As the music played through her speakers, she nodded, tapping her foot. Jonas watched her smile in real time. His heart felt full. Layla held up a card with a delicate drawing of the willow tree. This is beautiful, she said. She showed him the postcard that matched the tune they danced to under the stars. Jonas told her to wait while he grabbed his own copy. He placed his card next to his laptop and played the same song. Suddenly, they were both tapping the table to the beat, dancing in their separate rooms, yet together in spirit. They spent the next hour sharing stories about the new songs he added. Layla described how a gentle piano piece made her think of dawn light on her balcony. Jonas laughed when she sang a chorus off-key. They talked about how music could echo memory and hope. When the call ended, Jonas felt closer to Layla than ever before. The next morning, Jonas found a message from Layla. "I sent you my favorite playlist too. Let's swap songs every week." Jonas grinned. He opened the link and listened to tracks from her new city. Local bands, soft jazz, and hopeful anthems. Each song introduced him to her world. With every new tune, he felt the distance shrink. That afternoon, Jonas walked in the park with headphones on. He listened to Layla's playlist and watched sunlight filter through the trees. He imagined her walking beside him, humming the same songs. He felt joy in his chest. Humanity's strength, he thought, was in shared experiences, music, memories, and the will to care. By evening, Jonas had a plan. He drafted a simple map of their hometown with landmarks they loved. He marked spots where they once met: the library steps, the willow tree, the rocket launch site. He scanned the map and sent it to Layla with a note: "Let's follow this path together when we reunite." He closed his eyes and pictured her smiling at the map. As he lay in bed that night, Jonas reflected on their journey. From letters to gifts, sundials to storybooks, postcards to playlists, each step had carried hope across the gap. He knew their reunion was not far away. With every act of care, humanity's spirit had proven strong. No matter the miles, they had built bridges of music, art, and memory, and soon they would walk those bridges side by side. Jonas woke early again, but this morning his heart felt lighter. He had sent Layla a message the night before. "I think it is time to plan a real visit." In his mind, he pictured the two of them reunited under the old willow tree by the river. He brewed his tea and let steam rise like a small celebration of hope. After breakfast, Jonas opened his laptop and searched for flights. He remembered how they once imagined rocket ships carrying them across the stars. Now, a simple airplane could carry him to Layla's new city. He found a reasonable price for a weekend trip and clicked book. His hands trembled with excitement and relief. Humanity often reached the unknown, and this was his next journey. When the confirmation email arrived, Jonas printed the ticket and placed it on his desk next to his memory jar and shared storybook. He felt proud of every small step he and Layla had taken: postcards, sundials, songs, and jars. Those acts had kept their bond alive. Now he would cross the distance in person. He sent Layla a photo of the ticket and waited for her reply. By midday, his phone buzzed. Layla's message read, "I can't believe it. I will meet you at the station. I'll bring the clay cup and our storybook." "I can't wait." Jonas grinned so wide that his cheeks ached. He called her and they laughed together. He told her about the small presents he would carry: a fresh flower from his balcony, and a new sketch of their willow tree. In the days before his flight, Jonas continued his routine of hope. He watered his plants, packed his bags, and rehearsed what he would say when he saw Layla. He felt nervous. He also felt a powerful human spirit, the courage to reach out and make things happen. He knew that hope was strongest when paired with action. The morning of his departure arrived with clear skies. Jonas hugged his parents goodbye and climbed into a taxi to the airport. His ticket and passport felt like keys to a new adventure. As the plane lifted off, he looked out the window and thought of Layla, waiting for him. He whispered to himself, "Humanity answers every call." On the plane, Jonas replayed their shared playlist through his headphones. Each song reminded him of a memory they had made together. He closed his eyes and let the music carry him closer to Layla's city. He imagined her waiting at the station, her smile brighter than any sunrise. At the station, Jonas saw Layla before he got off the train. She wore a light jacket, her hair catching the afternoon sun. When their eyes met, Jonas felt tears of joy. He waved and Layla ran toward him, arms open. He stood and they embraced beneath the station roof. In that moment, distance vanished. They walked side by side to the platform edge and sat on a wooden bench. Layla held his hand and showed him the clay cup she had painted with tiny stars. Jonas gave her the fresh flower, its petals soft and fragrant. They laughed as Layla placed the flower inside the jar of memories. Then they opened their shared storybook on his lap and read the pages they had written together. As evening fell, they made their way to the willow tree by the river. The leaves swayed in the gentle breeze. Layla traced the carved initials on the bark while Jonas set up the small sundial they had built long ago. They watched the shadow move and felt time slow. At that moment, Jonas knew that hope and human effort had carried them back together. Under the willow's branches, Jonas and Layla talked about their dreams. They planned new adventures, building a rocket from real parts, rescuing another sparrow, and writing more chapters in their storybook. The river reflected the golden light of dusk. Their laughter echoed across the water. When the stars appeared, Jonas and Layla sat on a blanket, looking up at the sky, held her hand and said, "No matter how far apart we are, we can always find a way back." Layla smiled and leaned on his shoulder. In that quiet moment, Jonas felt proud of their human spirit, bold, caring, full of hope. Their reunion was not the end, but a new beginning. Together, they believed that distance could never break a friendship built on small acts of kindness, creativity, and unwavering hope. And as the stars shone above, Jonas whispered, "This is just the first step. We will go far together."